Hi everyone, Ksenia Pro is here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a portrait photographer and photography educator, and as some of you know, I specialize in maternity photography, and this is what I'm here to teach you about. So today we're going to talk about camera settings for beautiful maternity silhouette pictures. And there's three types of setups that I use to create maternity photography silhouette. Number one, I use just simple daylight with a big window. Number two, I create high key type of setup with a white background with the studio lights blasting into the background and creating a beautiful like dark figure against the white background silhouettes. And number three, and my favorite, is when I'm creating a low-key type of silhouettes with the rim light on the black background with studio lights. Today we're going to talk about the camera settings for the silhouettes with just daylight. So if you have a big enough window, you can already create beautiful silhouettes, or those can be created somewhere outside as well against just a bright sky. You just need to understand the main principle of creating silhouette pictures. And the other two setups I'm actually teaching inside of my Luxury Maternity Photography Academy. So I'll walk you step by step on what kind of like settings to use on your camera, how to set up your lights to create beautiful studio maternity pictures. So let's get right to it. All right, let's get right to it. I'm gonna turn my camera, so it's gonna be facing, we're gonna be using my mannequin. It's gonna be acting as our model today because it's just me by myself in the studio. But I wanted to show you the principle of how to set up your camera to create beautiful silhouette pictures and what to watch out for. So I'm gonna turn my camera so we can see how the lighting works. So this is our beautiful model, and when you set up your camera on auto, or if you're using AV, aperture priority mode, this is what your camera will just see, will show you. So that's gonna be kind of like, the picture looks kind of like blah, like it doesn't look sharp enough, and like there's not enough contrast on the picture. So you may see some of the details in here, but you also see some of the details behind the window. So we don't really want to see the parking lot or anything else behind the window. So let's start changing the settings. The goal is for the window to go completely overexposed, so it looks just white. You may still see a little bit of the lines here because my window is not floor to ceiling. So I'll usually just like brighten it up later in post because you see that ledge. If your windows are taller, that's even easier to create kind of like more seamless silhouettes. But even that, so one of the tricks that you want to use is to hang like just cheap see-through curtains, just white curtains, just to filter the light. That's going to help you create more softer light, so it's easier to work with, and for silhouettes as well. So let's start changing the settings. So my settings right now is at 1/160th of a second, f3.2, and ISO 200. So I want this picture to make it brighter so that the window goes completely overexposed. And in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and change my ISO. And we're going to go to 800 ISO. So this looks pretty good to me. So if I stand in the frame, you will see how it looks on my skin as well. So you will probably see a lot of details just because of my window light is. I actually, when I take silhouettes, I actually kind of see a lot of details in the skin and the body still because there's a lot of fill light. So my windows are pretty big. The light is very soft. There's no direct sunlight. And actually the light bounces off of the room and kind of fills the scene. So the silhouettes are not as dark. But once you convert it to black and white and add contrast and Lightroom, that's going to create much sharper, like more contrasty images. And we're also going to talk about the distance between the window and the model, so we can create either darker or brighter kind of silhouette pictures. So right now that's kind of medium contrast type of look. If we move the model closer to the window line, there is more light that's going to wrap around her body. And I actually love using this kind of lighting, especially when we shoot see-through. So when you put the model behind, well, she's not going to be behind the curtain, but I use the white see-through fabric. So when it's like see-through with this beautiful light coming through, that just looks very magical. So she could be standing right here And I usually have, for pregnancy shoots, I drape another piece of fabric that's white, and we stretch it out so you can see the whole outlines of the maternity body, and that looks magical. So let's just see what kind of settings we need here. So if we put the model closer to the window, yeah, so it looks much brighter. And then we're gonna move it maybe 5 feet away from the window, and you see I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. Without changing any settings, it already looks a little bit darker because it's like deeper into the room. And just to compare, you can see me as well right here. So that's gonna be my silhouette. And just for the comparison, if I step closer here, it's probably going to be much brighter because there's more light hitting my face as well. So with the same type of settings, we're just going to move even further into the room. I'm going to move my camera back, and we're going to position the model farther away from the window. Again, depending on the room that you're working with, you don't need to go maybe like that far from the windows. If the natural light looks different, so it's like if it's a darker environment and there's just one window, it's going to be actually easier to create those dark, moody silhouettes for you. So now we moved even deeper into the room, and now as you can see, the silhouette, the model looks much darker, so that's going to be very pretty in black and white. That's like a good ratio between the light in the background and the model for those like even darker color, like moodier silhouettes. So if I step into the frame, you will see how that's going to look with me here. And the reason why the deeper we step into the room, the darker it gets here, so I don't get enough light in my face, like from the front. Most of the light comes from behind now, and that creates the difference in exposure. So now, because the way we set up the settings, I haven't changed those because we exposed for the highlights, for the window light, right? And now we're just removing the light from the model's face or the model's body. So the settings stay the same, the amount of light stays the same. It's just the ratio between the brightness of the body of the model and the brightness of the window is going to be different. So that creates more depth and it creates more contrasty silhouettes. There's another thing to consider though. The deeper you step into the room, the farther away you are from the window. So you have to zoom in more so that you don't see all of the room. You just want to see just the light behind the model. And it's much easier to kind of like get the frame right, and you kind of have like you have to have like a big window to be able to actually step back, zoom in, and don't see the whole room because the windows are going to be farther away from the model, so it's harder to position the model in the frame of the window. Because my studio has a whole line of windows, there's a whole wall of windows, it's kind of easier for me to do that, but I also start seeing all of these things that I normally either Photoshop out or try to crop it out. So that's why it's much easier when you get like the shot closer to the window. And these are my favorite shots usually because they look contrasty enough, but they still look bright, so you can use them both as silhouettes and as just kind of regular backlit pictures. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button so you get notifications about the new videos because I want you to keep learning from me. And also, if you have any questions or you wanted to share any problems or any wins in your photography, make sure to leave me a comment. I read through every single one of them myself and I reply to them as well. I love hearing from you. Also, you can take a screenshot of this video if you're watching it, share it on your Instagram, tag me at Ksenia Pro Education, and share your biggest insight from this video. All right, talk to you soon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.